Coming to you live from deep within an icy, radioactive wasteland, we are the survivors of the social justice zombie apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the zombie herds with Rantzerker 48. Bees, bonnets, and big dreams. Whoa, I got through that without stumbling. I'm actually impressed with myself.
It's a new first, Allison.
Well, yeah, especially with all the B's and D's.
And me without my video camera.
I know.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. There you go. Well, yeah, it is the thing. I mean, I've been doing a lot better lately on getting through that without stumbling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people wonder why my video has go from clip to clip to clip to clip on any of my videos, and it's because I just can't. Unless I'm in front of an audience, I can't go talk for any length of time without stumbling. So.
All right, so we have Teal Deer with us today.
Yes, I'm
yes. Here. Excellent. And shall we just? Well, actually, before we get into it, I did want to do a call out to people because we're going to be doing a bit of retooling here at the Badger Cave. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any things that you think we could do better, if you have something that you think we do really well, just send them to topic@badgerpod.com. And all criticism is appreciated, and we'll go into the melting pot, and we'll give it some thought as to how to deal or implement your criticism. All right.
We'll add some Eye of Newt and some Batwing, and stir it up and see what comes out.
Yes. And let's get into it. Let's get into the full frontal. Oh, all right. I just have to cue it up. Wait for it. Wait for it. All right, there we go. Okay, you guys can see this?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, I think I might have to select myself so that it doesn't unselect me. And then here we go. All right, let's get started. Kit Kat, why are you so yappy today? Okay.
As you may know, I'm not just television's only female late-night host. I'm also, thank you, I'm also the female mother of 2 female daughters.
Glad you clarified.
No, it's all this is all about female talk show host, female mother, 2 female daughters, female.
As opposed to male daughters, male mother.
Yeah. And female sons.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I mean she's just like really playing up the whole female thing. The whole writing in this this sort of intro, all of the writing is just like so pandering. It's kind of an embarrassment. So
Painful.
yeah, whoever wrote her monologue probably shouldn't be working in the business. I mean, there are ways to make something like this funny, right? But this isn't one of them, so.
It's almost impossible to be funny and a moral guardian at the same time.
Oh, God, yeah. No. I mean, if you're funny, you're supposed to, like, attack morality.
Yeah, it's like trying to be humorous and a martyr at the same time. It just doesn't work. It's just so wet. It's just like you can just hear the sopping sound with this monologue. Just
then,
what?
Why you gotta be like that?
What? Like what?
Wet and sopping. Now all I can think of is vaginas.
Okay, well, like I was thinking more like, cat puke, but
or like a dish rag or something.
Yeah, just a dish rag, just flump, with a splashing sound. That's the attempt at humor here.
The sound of a spitball hitting your face.
That would actually be funny, though.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, could you imagine if she got a spitball to the face right now?
Oh, that would be so excellent. I think we could move on.
Yeah.
And like any lady parent, I want my girls to dream big.
I want to be...
But not your boys.
Well, I don't know if she has any boys, but I'm expecting that for her boys, if she has any, they will be, It'll just, her vision for their future is just like that scene from 1984 where they're all like marching toward the elevator, sort of not even marching, shuffling toward the elevator, right? Like that.
Yeah, not big so much as blamed.
Yeah, and doing the work that's expected of them.
Pipe up, Tilder, if you have anything you want to add, or just wait.
I'm holding in all of the cringiness at the moment.
Yeah.
It's okay. We get it. You're a woman.
Yeah.
Everything you care about is a woman. Okay, right. Oh,
But it's the most pertinent detail.
It really is. It's just bizarre. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a female woman. Well, thanks, Tumblr. You can check your privilege next. I just find this last sentence a bit bizarre. So yes, and like any lady parent, I want my girls. It's like, so hang on. Do male parents not want their girl children to dream big? Do I go full Tumblr and say, do you think that trans parents, I'm going to assume there's some out there, don't want their daughters to dream big, or they're probably too busy fucking hampering their growth by trying to convince them that they're anything other than just a girl, because that's how they work. It's just my cringe.
I actually hate this whole idea of dream big. Like, yes, you can have your sort of dream big thing, but I've always tried to convince my kids, all of them, to dream realistically, and to plan for their lives in a realistic way. My daughter's never going to be a pop star. Like, it's never going to happen. Her voice is, her singing voice is, and her ability to carry a tune, like, atrocious. She would be one of the ones that, gets put on the compilation of funniest first auditions for America's Got Talent or whatever, right? That's what she would be if she wanted to be a singer. It doesn't matter how much you want something. Sometimes it's just not in. It's not even the remotest of possibilities, and even something that you could do. So much of it depends on luck. Including later on, one of these girls has a semi-realistic but big dream. I want to be a doctor. Well, that's an extremely competitive thing to get into. The number of seats in med school are limited. They're heavily competed for. And, you may actually have to consider that that's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do, even though it's, a realistic, it's not like being a celebrity, it's not like being a pop star, it's not like being Justin Bieber, right? But it's still, you might have to look at doing something else with your life if you can't make the cut. I mean...
Yep. But I'd like to point something out. I think that there's a functional reason why they're doing this to young girls. Because when inevitably they dream really big, they develop these really, really big and very, very improbable dreams, and inevitably their mediocrity means that they land squarely on something that isn't so big, they can then turn all of that resentment towards the fictional patriarchy, thus constructing the boogeyman in their minds.
Yeah, I mean, like this little girl here, she says, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. And, that's an extremely sensible goal. It's a very realistic, sensible goal. Teachers are needed. They're valued. It's not that difficult to be one. It's like, I want to be an accountant someday. Or, I want to manage a restaurant, right? Like,
yeah, that's and what's wrong with a reasonable and sensible goal? But what's wrong with it is a reasonable and sensible goal in which you can envision the steps you need to take to get to it, of course, emphasizes the girls in question ability to manage their own lives, which is not what this is about. It's about giving them the idea they can be anything, and when they fail to be anything because, like you said, mediocrity, then we can all blame patriarchy.
And even if they succeed, they can still complain that they're not being paid as much as men.
Yeah, well,
because when she becomes a teacher, they will bring up look how little women teachers earn to male teachers, and then we'll point to the gap in time and all of those other
Well,
things.
that male teachers are more likely to teach summer school. That's one big one. Than female teachers are, and that male teachers are more likely to go into administration, probably due to discrimination in the classroom. Probably due to the fact that people don't trust them around. So, I mean, like in any elementary school, you're going to see, in the elementary school system, you're going to see more male principals and vice principals than you are going to see male teachers, simply because I think men feel like parents don't trust them around their kids, right? And so they move on to a position where they're not in the classroom and not interacting with kids every day.
Yep.
And then they get blamed. How come there aren't more female principals, and why do men with teaching degrees earn more, right? Well, it's because they've been chased out of the fucking classroom.
Be a teacher when I grow up.
When I grow up, I want to be a gymnastics teacher.
And a doctor and artist. A ballerina. I'm gonna be in a hip hop show.
Really?
I actually would disagree that all of these are improbable. If you want to be an artist, you can be a professional artist. You just need to learn how to market your skills and learn how to write grants. Period. So you're going to have to learn all those icky things like salesmanship, management of money, because it's basically just going to be you, and all that kind of and entrepreneurship skills. And you can make it as an artist. You just have to put the time in, and also learn the skills of running a small business.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, ballerina is not completely out of reach for every girl either. I mean, like, my own niece was being courted by after she attended a high school for the performing arts, and she was being courted by some ballet companies, but she chose to go and get a business degree instead. Simply because it's more sensible. She had lots of contacts, sort of in the upper echelons of banking and business and all of that stuff through her father and my mother and my sister and all of this. And so, I mean, it was just a more sensible thing to do than go for a brief career in ballet that tends to end early. And you're extremely, when you have to specialize to that degree, you're extremely limited in what you can do to earn a living, right?
Yeah.
And one injury can fuck you right over, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. So shall we continue?
Yes.
Yep.
Banana.
Can you get me tickets to Hamilton in like 20 years? Yeah. Girls, you can be anything you want. Girl power.
Okay. No, you can't. Like, I mean, realistically. And this is true of boys too. There's way, 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 way more homeless boys and men who commit suicide and all kinds of other tragic, I don't want to say failures, but tragic pitfalls that men face, and that in general women don't. And they don't become anything. They aren't anything. Like not every boy is going to become president or an astronaut or a Formula 500 racer, or whatever wonderful thing or top of the line thing that you think. So why would you say that to girls?
Yeah, it's just setting them up for disappointment. It's the whole idea that if you just want to be an astronaut badly enough, there are guys who want to enlist in the army, right? They just want to enlist. That's their dream. They want to be a private in the fucking army, and they don't get accepted, right? Because they have psoriasis, or they have scoliosis, or they have some kind of something that makes them not disqualifies them for that, right? So I mean, like, not everybody can. Even when you have a modest dream, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a priest. There are things that may disqualify you from that. Like, okay, like, don't tell girls they can be anything they want to be. You know what? I want to be a purple alien. Can I be that?
Tumblr says yes.
If
Fuck.
you identify as it, then you can be that thing, and no one can take that away from you.
I guess I should get my purple makeup and start making videos.
Or you could fundraise to get like a terry cloth purple onesie and then
that would be so comfy.
and then you'll just have to wander around until it becomes part of your body. It becomes hermetically sealed to your skin.
Sounds less comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Banana.
Let's take a closer look at your options in Samantha Bee's #Roar You Go Girl job fair for future women. Lean in.
What the fuck is funny about this? I don't understand. This must be a laugh track.
I don't know. You know, and here's the thing, right? Like, I watched a lot of Samantha Bee back when I actually still watched TV, and that was when she was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And a lot of the stuff that she did was really, really, really funny. But I think it actually depended heavily on the writers. Because, like, this is just stupid.
It's just wet. It's like a wet washcloth.
Spitball.
I don't know about you, but I actually find this hilarious. And the reason that I find it hilarious is this is referencing by name all of the campaigns that women and girls have had to push them into certain career paths. And notice how none of them have actually increased the amount of women in those careers reliably at all.
It's almost like emphasizing the idea that other people are responsible for what you can do in your life rather than your own skills and ability leads girls to be discouraged. Because you can spend your whole life crusading to have everyone else give you what you want, but when it's you who determines what you get by your choices, what do you end up with? You end up with a wasted life. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just if I for example, thought of my comic book in terms of making everyone else give it to me, I don't even know how I would have accomplished the first 2 volumes. Oh no, I don't have to do anything. The patriarchy is the reason why my comic doesn't have a first volume. That doesn't even fucking make sense. I mean, you're teaching girls to see everything in their lives as a result of somebody else's choices besides themselves. And then is it surprising that you're teaching them failure? Or are you just teaching them to whine for shit? And what are you going to achieve if you have that mentality? If you have the mentality that any kind of achievement that you could possibly get is either hampered by external factors or will be given to you by external factors, what are you going to achieve? Since most achievement is done by somebody's individual effort moving towards a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's teaching girls to exteriorize their agency instead of interiorize it and say, well, if I don't achieve that, it's because I didn't do the work. Not because some outside force prevented me or didn't give it to me. It's because I didn't do the work. That'll get them a hell of a lot further than all this shit. #roar. Fuck. Whatever.
Apparently, there's people in the chat saying the stream is
Dead.
Dead.
Dead?
Yeah, I told you in the chat a couple of minutes ago.
Well. How did that happen?
The host's internet probably died. The stream is raped. Cyber Hitler. Refresh.
If you're reading the chat, hoping for any sort of decent technical advice, just stop now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Same.
Is it stopped completely?
Podcast.
Yes.
Somebody said the same thing is happening to Joe Rogan's podcast. So,
What the fuck?
It might be a Google thing.
Yeah, let me just I'm gonna mute my mic and I'm gonna just check it out here. You guys speak amongst yourselves.
All right. What should we say? Did you manage to get your trailer up? That's the only thing that I'm thinking.
I did. Yes.
Okay, so that's good. That's a positive.
It is. Yeah. No, we just kind of lost everything after she finished the reading of the title there. We basically lost the last couple of minutes. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Your epic rant is gone forever.
Do we want to restart this with a new thing?
I would say give it a go, maybe.
Because if Joe Rogan is also gone dead, then it's probably something YouTube related. Can anyone hear us? Okay, if anybody in the chat can hear us, just tell the cringe is so bad that it's funny. I just saw Alien Gearbox say the cringe is so bad that it's funny. Does anybody hear me say the cringe is so bad that it's funny? If you can hear me, then just tell me in the.
Ah, there we go.
Is it? It started again?
Yeah,
All right.
I've got the stream open and I've got the audio available, so yes.
Yeah. So guys, in the chat, you can hear us? You can hear us.
They can.
Jesus, this is so fucking. This is so. I don't even know what the hell this is, but apparently Joe Rogan also went down as well, so it isn't just us.
Yeah, it's a Google thing, so we're gonna have to re-go through the entirety of the goddamn fucking title.
Okay, just wait. Let me look.
Okay.
Are we good? We're just getting Karen to do a little bit of technical work to ensure that everything is good. No, we can't hear. Okay, what? No, we can't hear you. So no, it's gone. Again?
I think you might just be being trolled by those people. I'm just going by the ratio of people screaming yes, 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 like the chat is a terrible porn channel.
Flash. Allison went down on Joe Rogan. No.
Oh, but that would be something to see, wouldn't it?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, no, I think we did lose all of the discussion of why are we setting girls up to think that they can be anything that they want? That's just a way of setting them up.
Do you want to just... Shall we just start from the beginning?
No, I don't want to fucking start from the beginning. It's essentially the moment that the lean in, that was when it tanked, and then you saying, "Can you hear me say this?" That's when it picked up again.
Oh my God! All right, so shall we go back a little bit and then continue?
Just whatever. I think Teal Deer said something about he found it funny.
Yes, I found this actually rather hilarious. I know you're saying, yeah, it's not funny, but I think it is, because to me, this is a list of all of the initiatives and campaigns and shit like that that's been promoted by feminist groups and women's rights groups and women's activist groups, and some of them even pushed by government departments and things like that to try and get more women and girls into all of these things, and women and girls don't go into them. Or we, find ourselves back at the good old Norwegian gender paradox where it works for the first sort of 6 months to a year, and then it all goes back down to normal. So it's like, yep, here's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of whatever unit of currency you use to get like a 6 month or a year boost.
Oh yeah, and then this is where I went on my little rant about how if you're basically teaching with these hashtag roar or you go girl or whatever the fuck this shit is, they're basically teaching girls that their achievement isn't a result of their own personal work ethic and willingness to endure situations that aren't necessarily that uncomfortable. You'll notice if you ever read about people who achieved it, or mostly men who have achieved anything, a lot of these guys, they had to go through a lot of shit, hot lead up the ass, dying after having been beaten in a sanatorium because you told doctors they should wash their hands. That kind of stuff. But they achieved great things, but in the process they had to go through a lot of very uncomfortable situations, including social ostracizations. So a lot of their achievement came down to their persistence, their belief in what they had to say, and also their own personal work ethic in the face of incredible social opposition. You'll notice that male scientists, incredible social opposition to bring about new concepts. They didn't have any help. The society was actively working against them. And yet for girls, instead of looking at the history of how science came about, looking at the history of all the shit that scientists have had to do to bring unconventional theories, and unconventional for their time is what I mean, unconventional theories.
Often theories that did not become popular or accepted until long after they were dead.
Yeah, all that they had to do, all these male scientists had to do and endure to champion an idea with all of society arrayed against them, and then here they are saying that girls should have society giving them handouts every step of the way. No, if you honestly believe that society is pushing back against girls' achievement, well, it pushes back against men's achievement throughout history as well. But men had the advantage, if you want to call it an advantage, of not being told it wasn't their fault. You know, they never, with all of these achievers, all of these high achievers, they all have one thing in common. They relied on themselves. They saw things in terms of what they could do. They saw things in terms of their own effective agency. They saw things in terms of their own ability to work to affect change. They did not see things in terms of the disadvantage or the or they did see it, they got over it, and they returned to seeing things in terms of what they could do to advance their concepts, what these men could do to advance their ideas. So they were entirely internally focused when it came to locus of control, entirely focused on what they could do, what they could achieve, how they could move things forward. And this teaches girls the exact fucking opposite of everything that creates success and achievement. It teaches girls to see it as their success and their achievement in terms of other people's actions rather than their own. So the first time they have any kind of pushback, if let's say the girl in the fucking doctor's or Samantha Bee's crazy head on top of a doctor outfit, say that woman invented some new thing that everybody was against because it defied all of the orthodoxy in science, but it was scientifically sound. She would experience so much pushback just because of the nature of orthodoxy and dogma and established scientific fact. You know, some of it it's like very valid. New concepts need to prove themselves. Some of it is simply science doesn't change until a generation dies because people are attached to their ideas. She would look at it in terms of, oh my God, the patriarchy is pushing me down. Not just normal fucking opposition to new ideas. And what would she do when she says the patriarchy? Oh, obviously I can't do anything about that. Well, I'll just give up. Because I have to, not only do I have to push this radical new idea, in order to do it, I have to defeat the patriarchy. Well, what's the point in that? That's not going to happen. I mean, the way they're framing this issue is just so, they're essentially teaching girls to fail. And then when the girls inevitably fail, they say, hey, patriarchy, fuck you! All right.
All right.
Just before we go anywhere, can I just take us to a nice happy place and realize that Samantha is doing a fantastic teapot impression right now?
I'm a little teapot.
There we go.
Yeah.
Me over and pour me out.
Well, that implies there's something in there to pour out.
Let's start with, park ranger. You get to be outdoors. Plus, there's those extra vacation days when President Cruz forces another government shutdown. It's a dream job.
A federal watchdog report that charts a history of sexual abuse at Grand Canyon National Park.
Some of the allegations include one employee taking a picture of the skirt of another employee. Male park employees.
I actually read part of this. Yeah, no. I'm doing a banana because I'm worried that we'll get flagged. In fact,
why if you work for the Park Service, you're wearing a skirt?
Yeah, that's a little bit weird.
Well, it's just an office job, so you don't actually have to go outside and do all of the actual park rangery goodness, like wrestling bears or whatever it is they do.
Well,
yeah.
That Samantha was talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is I'm worried that we're gonna get DMCA because I accidentally went a little too far. But the thing is that what the complaints were was that okay, I'm gonna just go a bit further.
Accused of propositioning female coworkers for sex, touching them inappropriately, or making lewd comments.
Okay, that's it. This was the sex abuse. Apparently, the only part that would possibly raise to I love her face, by the way. she looks. Oh my God, that's a great still. The hoagie was this big. All right.
Oh dear.
But okay, so essentially the problem was that the the women were propositioned. So somebody actually asked them out on a date. They were touched inappropriately. I don't think they were actually touched inappropriately in a very sexual way, but just like, touching someone on the shoulder or some shit. And then also the alleged photo up the skirt. Okay, here's the thing. Get over it. None of these things are worth this much attention. None of these things. I'm going to go right out there. Getting propositioned for a date or sex or whatever, no. That is a mild inconvenience. Being touched appropriately, I'm not talking about rape. I'm not talking about somebody shoving their hand down your pants. Being touched inappropriately, which could have been, I don't know, maybe his arm brushed her tit while they were going down the river or some shit. Also, get the fuck over it. I mean, is this what's supposed to lay women low? Rude words? Like, what about the fucking possibility of being attacked by a cougar?
I know. It reminds me of the whole thing about sexual assault in the military, and I'm thinking, okay, so we want like more women in the military, right? And we make this huge deal about sexual assault against women in the military. Aren't we supposed to be like, like we're supposed to be putting women in, in behind frickin' duck blinds, firing at the enemy and getting fired on? Like, I don't know, but like having somebody grab your boob is pretty low, I would think, in terms of shit you have to put up with in that job. Like I just perspective people, right? And if women cannot handle a job that involves all kinds of unpleasantness, right, as part of the job, right, and they're going to make a big honkin' fucking deal about unpleasantness that happens, within the context of the job, but not as a job, criteria for, for the duties that you have to do, right? I mean, like, a woman who's going to wilt because some guy, propositioned her or grabbed her boob or, tried to get frisky in the barracks, she's going to wilt. How is she going to fucking be in combat?
Well, yeah. How are you going to do your fucking job? If you're a park ranger, like, just tell him to go fuck himself. Or whatever. Like, pick your nose and rub it on his fucking shirt. That usually quells men's ardor pretty quick.
That helps, yeah. And or do the Jenna Marbles thing. How to not talk to people you don't want to talk to. I would suggest anyone go watch it. The face she makes in it is absolutely wonderful, and she says, as long as you're willing to have that person walk away thinking for the rest of their life that you are the weirdest fucking person they have ever met, right? As long as you're willing to live with that, this is effective every single time.
Yeah, go invite him and say, yeah, sure, I'd love to have sex. So what kind of dildo can your ass accommodate? Because that's sort of my thing. And I like it big.
Oh yeah. Or whatever.
I'll show you my rig. Just if you just be smart. Just be a smart ass back.
Yeah.
Learn to do that, because I'm sure that it's easier to deal with human males than a fucking cougar. They're pretty scary.
Cougar is a puma or whether it's a human female.
Did someone snort? I heard a snort.
I heard you snort. I think that.
Did I snort? Oh my god.
Yes.
Maybe it's like an echo. Oh yeah, that must have been an echo. Okay, never mind. All right, I'll go back to where we were. I'm actually just like pathetically OCDing on how long I let it. Same face.
It's fine. Okay, so
Same face.
just before we launch any further into this, I'm just going to add a couple of things here. I'm going to actually post a link to to chat that we can maybe look at. It's actually regarding reports of sexual harassment in work, so we don't have to look at that immediately, but we'll come up to it for the second point. First point on this, attractive privilege. How many guys would, like, kill for a woman to, like, proposition them ever? It's the sort of thing that a lot of guys never experience, so... Yeah, it just seems kind of weird that it's one of those things that, I have to have the oppression of saying no.
Doesn't it sound like there's this guy, he made like, I don't know, $9,000 a month when I was working as a waitress, and he actually was trying to tell me, it's not that easy to earn that kind of money. I mean, the amount that you have to worry about, like, where do I have to put my money, what investments should I do? I mean, it's just such a big problem, right? And I'm just standing there staring at him going, I want to tie you down and pluck your nose hairs one by one until you scream. Because I could only wish to have your problems.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
But on now, actually, unless you want to go, Alison.
Do you want me to put up this document?
Yeah, please do, because it's something which I find very interesting, and it harkens back to what I think it was you were saying about sexual harassment and just fucking deal with it because it's not worth it. And these are charges alleging sexual harassment taken by the US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Now, the thing which I notice here is this also kind of ties very nicely into some Pew Research which we brought up about men being abused on the internet and how women are more likely to report than men, even for really minor shit. Well, what you notice is percentage filed by males is obviously the lowest, sort of 16-17%, around and about. But what's really interesting is when you just scroll on down and you look at no reasonable cause. Over half of the charges alleging sexual harassment have no reasonable cause to have been filed, and only actually about between 5 and 10% have reasonable cause, and the rest of them are just sort of how they've been settled or paid out, regardless of whether they were reasonable or unreasonable, basically just to hush them up. So, yeah, half, or just marginally over half, filed with no reasonable cause whatsoever. I wonder who's doing that. I wonder which of the two genders has very distinct, observable patterns from Pew Research of overreacting to shit that is not a major issue.
Imagine if you get rid of that no reasonable cause, the percentage of men filing increases well over 17%.
Very possibly.
I mean, if you remove the 50% that are unreasonable, I'd imagine that this is just a hypothesis, not even a hypothesis, a conjecture, that if you remove the charges of sexual harassment with no reasonable cause, which was apparently 50% of them, imagine the charges filed by men go way up over 17%, probably to 30 or 40%. But that's just my conjecture. Because
it wouldn't surprise me.
Guys don't usually complain unless something is really fucked up. Like, really fucked up.
Agreed. I don't know that I've ever actually experienced a man, and this is sexual harassment, is it?
Yes, it's sexual harassment.
Yeah.
I have worked with men who have left their jobs due to having a toxic boss, and the particular toxic boss that I'm talking about, he was just really over the top, atrocious, like just absolutely the worst boss that I've ever had. And so, like, anybody who left that job over that, I would not blame them. I would never have blamed them. But still, no complaint filed. And it's like sexual harassment. I could see a man complaining if it was a straight man and it was a gay guy who was harassing him. I could see that. but and that's only because I think that men have a certain chivalry and a certain tolerance towards the excesses of female behavior, a certain unwillingness to get them in trouble that they would not necessarily have if the person engaging in that behavior was male. So
I think actually the number of men who are reporting female aggressors is probably, from what I've seen, it's actually surprising. I mean, yes, it is more common with another man, but it's starting to be more common with women too.
yeah,
Like
no,
starting to tolerate less from women.
well, I think it's essentially like the what I'm saying is that I don't think it's homophobia. I think it's just that men feel like they're more able to complain when the person harassing them is another man than they are when it's a woman, and maybe things are opening up a little bit, enough that men can understand that yeah, women can be harassers, and so I actually do have a case that I could make here, and somebody might actually believe me and take me seriously. And not just believe me and take me seriously, but do something about it. So, I mean, like, I don't know whether harassment by women against men is going up. I think it might just be willingness on the part of men to.
Well, I doubt it's going up because it doesn't have much up to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the surveys, it's like 95%. There's not much more room to grow for the harassment of women or men by women. If men are reporting that 95% of the sexual abuse, harassment, and rape, etc., is being practiced by women, and I guess it could go up to 99%. But yeah. But anyway, the point I wanted to make is I think it's not just that men think that they're going to be served by these institutions when they report harassment by women. I think it's also that men are starting to realize that they should be served by institutions. So even if they know that they aren't going to be, they may still bring it forward because they feel like, that they are entitled to be respected sexually, and that institutions should enforce those rules as well for men. Even if they don't, they're starting to feel like that is something, they should have boundaries, and then those boundaries should be respected, which is something I applaud, because guys have right to dignity too. But we can move on, unless you want to point out anything more, Fielder?
No, I just found that really interesting. This is a source which I've used before in other videos where someone was like, "Oh, women are so much more likely to receive this." Like, yeah, they are likely to receive it, but they're also disproportionately more likely to completely lie about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is,
overreact. Like, yeah, like a woman is much more likely to think that one guy in the workplace, asking her for a date constitutes harassment than a man in a similar position with a woman who asks him for a date. A man is more likely to report it when it actually becomes like so. I would make a distinction there between lying and being hypersensitive. I think that a lot of women who make a big deal out of nothing actually think that it's a big deal, and in their minds they're not lying. So
Karen,
what?
Like the face that Samantha.
I know. She needs knee pads.
No. This is the face that she makes when some guy's like, "Stop it! Stop touching me." She's like, how dare you? My hands can go wherever they like.
How could you say such a hurtful thing to me?
Yeah.
I feel rejected now. You should feel bad.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say something about the rate of sexual abuse in the Army or the military. What's really surprising about it when I look at the numbers? First of all, the fact that men are not abused, like the proportion of male soldiers are abused, is lower than the proportion of female soldiers. But if you think about it, if you're dealing with an environment that's 80% male and 20% female, and most sexual abusers usually abuse the opposite gender, then it sort of makes sense, because there just isn't as proportionately, you wouldn't expect as many abusers among the 20% of females. Would end up having far fewer potential rapists and abusers than the 80% of males, just by statistics. But the other interesting thing is that of the guys who report being sexually abused, 60%, like the majority of them, report a female civilian as the aggressor. I mean, is that not like? And the funny thing is that a while back, I don't know if you know James Landreth, right, Karen? Mm-hmm. He was, I believe, a Marine, and he was sexually abused or raped by a female civilian during leave. And I remember the shit that he went through in talking about this experience.
Oh, he went on to HuffPost Live and talking about it, and watching the chat was just like, I just wanted to hang myself.
Yeah, you don't want to hang yourself, you want to hang some other people.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and so the pushback he got over that, and then you find out that actually that's the most common way that servicemen are abused. They're abused by a female civilian, and the big reason why is because no one's going to believe him. And the women know it. They absolutely know that you get a service guy in some compromising position, the likelihood that anybody in his chain of command is going to believe, yeah, she raped me, is minimal. And what happened in James Landreth's case was that she explicitly said, you submit, or guess who's going to get charged with rape?
Yeah.
And what could he do?
Oh, yeah, no, there's nothing you can do except just go along with it, because, or you I guess you could not go along with it and serve your 10 years and have your career.
Yeah.
Right?
You either submit to the woman sexually, or you lose your career and you end up in jail. And female civilians know that. Women are brilliant when it comes to figuring out that somebody is under the 8 ball or under the sort of Damocles when it comes to pressure, social or institutional pressure. Yeah, they're very good. They can sense these things.
Oh yeah, no, they know exactly. There was one story on Reddit, a guy who was he'd passed out in a bedroom at a party, and a woman had come in and started doing things to him, and he woke up and started to object, and she said, if you don't let me, I will scream rape, and you know what's going to happen, right? Because it's a party full of drunk people, and if she screams rape, everybody's going to rush in and beat the shit out of the guy. Right? They know that.
Yeah, allow that women, not only there is a subset of women who are just as destructive, cruel, mendacious. Women are human. So, and if you're a female rapist, you know that's the way criminals operate. They know they want to get you vulnerable and weak, and the best way to do it isn't even with a weapon or physical superior strength. The best way to do it is with plausible deniability, is with using other people, the pressure of other people, to render you incapable of not consenting, of not saying yes, essentially.
Yeah.
The pressure of potential jail time, the pressure of losing your job, the pressure of social ostracization.
Of getting beaten up.
The rapists love that shit. That means they don't have to lift a goddamn finger. That's how they think. They're criminals. They're cowards. They don't want to fight. That includes male rapists, too, but they generally have to do a little bit more work.
Once again, men have to work harder for their money.
Yeah, what about the rape gap? Oh, fuck. I think I just went to hell for that.
I think you did. All right, okay. Moving on.
Yeah, unless Teal Dare has something to add to that.
No, that was all pretty comprehensive, to be fair. It is actually quite interesting how entitled some women act to a man in a uniform.
Oh, to any man at all. Men.
No, men in uniforms specifically.
Yeah, no, I mean.
And again, personal anecdote here because I can. There are people that I used to work with who would, like, specifically when on leave, go out in like military uniforms because they were like, yeah, it's guaranteed pull. Because they know that they will that is like one of the only circumstances where they will actually receive female attention.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
guaranteed. As in, it's like one of the only situations where a woman will actually come to you.
Do you remember that episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with
Yes.
the guy in military dress and Meredith Vieira like freaking practically humping his leg?
I'm just a horny old woman.
Yeah.
You can't blame me.
I
Well,
know.
yes, we can, actually.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with it. He seemed to be flattered, and she wasn't touching him or anything. And, yeah, he was an attractive guy, and I don't find any problem with even an older woman expressing some kind of sexual interest in a younger man or whatever. But I don't see anything wrong the other way around either. Like it's this is really the thing. It's the double standard that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with flirting. I flirt with everybody. I flirt with men. I flirt with women. I flirt with little kids, right? Not sexually, but sort of tease them and give them a hard time, give them the gears, and all of that. That's what I do, and that's charming when you're a woman, but when you're a man, it makes you seem predatory. I mean, if my boyfriend talked to little kids the way I do, right? Just little kids that he meets in the checkout line at the grocery store or whatever, right? People would be staring at him like, oh my God, is he a pedophile? Does he want to rape my child? Like what? And it's just like, so, I mean, it really is this sort of double standard that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with Meredith Vieira's behavior there, so much as I have a problem that if it was Regis Philbin and a very, very attractive woman, who could be a model or something, and he was making those kind of comments, it would be looked at as very, very different. And I'm going to use him as an example because his general physical appearance offsets his fame a little bit, because high status men can get away with certain things a little bit more than other men can. But yeah, no, it would not have been okay. It would not have been seen as okay. It would not have been seen as funny, humorous, something to be laughed at and applauded and tittered over. It would have been like, oh my God, look at that old guy who's like, and he's short and, he's got kind of a Jewish voice and he's like drooling over this hot young model. What the fuck? That's just so fucking wrong.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are making something out of the I flirt with little kids.
Of course they are. Of course.
Sound bite of the year.
Yeah. I flirt with everybody. Even flirt with my dog. Every time I yell at her, dog, I will kill you. That's me flirting with her. So.
Okay. Apparently,
That's
Karen
the
has
perfect time to add a banana.
Yeah, that's
that situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think Karen has an idiosyncratic version of the word flirt.
Fellas, don't get greedy. You've already got one majestic crevice to explore at work. Now, of course.
Okay, that was actually sort of cute.
That was kind of funny, yeah. No,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, female park service employees. Okay, so like a couple female park service employees say they were proposition groped and bullied on Grand Canyon river trips. So there are a couple people in the service who are a bit jerky. So fucking what? People are assholes, and they occupy almost every position in society, including apparently the park rangers.
But regardless, like, okay, this is one park station, right? It's one workplace amongst a massive parks service that covers the entire country. This is just the Grand Canyon. This is not, even if this is going on and there are gropings and bullyings and stuff like that, doesn't mean that it's endemic to the park service. It would mean that they have a problem with this one place, with some individuals in this one particular branch of one particular.
Allegedly. I mean, we have to say allegedly. These are accusations, and as we can see from Teal Deer's number, apparently 50% of accusations of sexual assault don't have any merit. So we don't know if these ones have merit until the investigation concludes, which I doubt it will, because all this is just, oh yeah, these women report this shit. Is there going to be an investigation?
Well, they're either going to fall into the 50% that had no reasonable cause, or the 30 or 40% where they just get bought off with no actual investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just easier.
So let's see what Samantha B has to say. And you know what? Considering the high rate of report of sexual abuse and harassment of men, like men saying that women sexually abuse and harass them, it's fairly high rate. Like I think 40 to 50% of college-age men and high school men report this. I would say that there is a whole bunch of female service park employees who are harassing the fuck out of men, but nobody reports on it.
Well, it's because neither the women nor necessarily the men see it as harassment.
And the funny thing is that you'll get females, and I think this is what's happening in colleges, because females tend to set the social standards. You'll get really, really sexually aggressive women, and then men respond, like they're doing about 50% of the sexual aggression of the women, and they get hit with it. Because they end up they got the sexually aggressive women, they hit on a woman who's a bit more of not so interested in it, and then bam, the shit falls down on their head. And yet it's for the most part it's the women, and I think this is what's happening in college. It's the women who are setting the tone of these sexual encounters, and I think a lot of the reason why a lot of college women don't report that they were pumped while unconscious or whatever on somebody's couch is because the week before they did the same damn thing to some guy who was unconscious on someone's couch.
Or they had the same thing happen to them, but they were happy about it.
Yeah, but then some of them, you read some of the, I remember really vividly this young woman who went to college and she woke up with bruises and shit, and she didn't even remember the sex. She was really thrilled because she had sex with a football player or something.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, and some people are like that.
I remember it was I forget whether it was a blog post or just a comment under a blog post at Jezebel, where I'm pretty sure it was a blog post, where she essentially said that the first sexual encounter she had with her husband was technically rape because she was drunk out of her mind. She was so drunk, she acknowledged that she was so drunk that she could not reliably she could not have been trusted to consent. She wasn't just like, oh, I blew over .08. No, it was like I was fucking drunk out of my mind, coming in and out of consciousness, just super fucking wasted, and we had sex, and then I married him later, right? And I couldn't be happier, and I'm like, how can you ruin a man's life over this if you were not willing to ruin that man's life over it?
I think a better approach to all of this would be to tell people who are not experienced with this particular lifestyle, like if there's a bunch of, and they seem to be quite happy with it, fairly promiscuous people who want to enjoy that kind of extremely reckless sex, and they're perfectly happy with it. They wake up the next day, they're sore all over, they can't remember a fucking thing, and they're like, yeah, that was awesome. But then there are the people who are more shy or maybe more conservative in their sexual expression, and they get into this, and then they get drunk, and then they get sort of rolled over by one of these individuals who's a lot more aggressive, and then they get fucked up. So there's these two sides to this. And probably the best way to deal with it would be to tell the people, you want to be careful, because there is this kind of culture on college campuses, not everywhere, but at a lot of parties, where you pass out, male or female, and you're fair game for all kinds of shit. So just be careful. If you're somebody who really values, not really values, but really is more private person, shyer, or you just not interested in that kind of sex, that can potentially fuck you up if you end up engaging in it. You know, the next morning you're not going to be quite as copacetic as the other people, because there are people who that happens to, Karen, and they're fucked up for life.
Oh, I
But
know.
the best way for them is to be honest. Like, it would be much better if colleges were honest about this and said, you know, there is this culture. If you don't want to take part in it, don't get drunk around people you don't know, male or female. Because there's guys who've been fucked up by this. I remember one story from Reddit where these fraternity brothers, this guy who was part of a fraternity, one of his fraternity brothers passed out in the coat room, which I guess is where everybody puts their coat on a bed. And he was completely passed out. And they were listening, and the sorority sister was like, yeah, I'm going to go in and fluff him and then screw him. And then he found out later, and it just totally did his head in. He ended up dropping out of school and completely out of this guy. Like, he didn't even hear from him again after he dropped out of school. Like, he just dropped off the map. And, you know, if you're that kind of person, or if you suspect that you're that kind of person, you got to be careful.
Well, yeah.
And it's not just women that need to be careful, it's men too.
Yeah, no, and it's the environment. It's like when you not everybody wants to be sexually liberated in that way. Not everybody wants to engage in that kind of sexual activity. And if you're not one of those people, then don't engage in activities that could lead to that kind of sex. I mean, it just makes sense that you would. And that doesn't mean that you can't ever get drunk. It doesn't mean that you can't ever go to parties. It doesn't mean that you have to go home at 11 o'clock. It just means that you have to be aware of the fact that there is this culture going on, and that a lot of people are engaging in it consensually, essentially.
And that's my point. A lot of this culture, a lot of this really aggressive sexual culture, is totally supported by women. Like, they want it, and they will do shit like that sorority girl going in and essentially raping the guy. They'll do that, and and then when a guy does it back, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
and,
or something even less egregious, right?
Yeah, it's like and what really needs to happen is just an understanding that, you know, there are different expectations. Some people can handle that kind of thing. That's very, very recreational, very dangerous kind of shit. You know, some people can handle jumping off of a cliff with a bungee thing attached to their, and other people just don't want to fucking do it. You know, and yeah. So I think we should banana, unless Tealier has something to add.
Nope.
According to the report, women who refused sexual advances might have had their food withheld or fined.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind. Keep going.
Cans of fecal matter left outside their tent. She wouldn't sleep with me before.
Okay. That's sort of gross behavior. This allegedly, if this happened, withheld food from them who refused him. So this is a boatman withheld food from those who refused him. So this is like one guy, apparently.
What kind of incompetent park ranger are you if you're going out and you're not bringing your own fucking supplies with you? Why would he be withholding food from you if you're the park ranger? You should be taking care of that shit yourself. If he's a boatman, he's just there to ferry you around. You should be prepared. If he's in a position where he can...
That's a good point.
Use that to you, then you're fucking incompetent and failing hard at your job.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you are a park ranger, you should be able to survive without someone else feeding you, presumably.
Or you should at least like have something with you, like, you know, a couple of fucking granola bars or something, just on the off chance some shit happens.
Trail mix.
Exactly.
Okay. Where's your trail mix, woman?
Maybe the gift of my poop will charm her out of her cargo.
Well, maybe he's a male hyena. I don't know.
Shorts. And speaking of big metal...
Another thing on this is I placed ammunition cans filled with human waste outside a tent. Okay, this might not be the case for park rangers. But I assume this is Canadian park rangers, though. Now,
no, it's American. It's American.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how park rangers work. They might work on a sort of similar survival thing with the military, because I know Canada has a like a forestry ranger branch, and they're like technically part of the army or something like that. So they do some of the similar survival training. In military survival training, when you're doing night X and you go out and do things like that, you always have either empty plastic bags that you shit in, or you might use an empty can, or you'll use like a bucket or an empty meal bag or something like that. The reason being, you don't leave any trace that you were there. Now, if the American park rangers do something similar like that, that might have just been part of their sort of disciplinary drill, that you do not leave any trace that you were there. And in that instance, it might be to avoid contamination or something like that. You know, obviously in the military environment, so you can't be tracked. But in them, again, it might also be to not get tracked, but it might also be so that you don't spoil the environment or something like that. And it might again be a case of, you know, you do this outside in a tin so that it's closed, so that it doesn't air out to the place and attract something that might be attracted to the smell, like a boar or a bear or something like that. So could it just be that that just so happens to be where the can was, and that it's actually nothing to do with a malicious act at all? It's just a practice that they do, and
Well,
it
yeah,
just so happens geographically that that's where the can got put. And then
it's
you took it
entirely
as a
possible.
personal slight, like those, what was it, Black Lives Matter people. It's like, why is there a dog shit in a bag on our thing? Because a blind woman didn't know where the bin is. But it was racist! No, it wasn't. No, you've jumped. You're about 10 steps ahead of everyone else here. There's a much better explanation.
Yeah, I have no idea. It may even actually have been, just a gag. Like, I don't know. There are some people who just who don't fit into a workplace, and someone might decide, okay, I'm going to shit in my can, and then I'm going to leave it outside their tent because, you know, because
Yeah.
they're a complete killjoy. They're a complete fucking horrible coworker. Nobody
Well, if
likes them.
they're a park ranger and they're not bringing their own supplies, yeah, I'd probably do that to them as well.
Yeah.
But you didn't come prepared. Guess what? Let's see how you handle this now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's lots of explanations that don't have to do with sexual abuse. They have to, and that's the problem here. This is not apparently it's not the conclusion of an investigation. Like what the Washington Post is reporting on is not the conclusion of investigation. It's just apparently allegations. Nobody here on this panel, and Samantha Bee and the Washington Post, none of us have any authority over what actually happened in this circumstance. We are assuming guilt, and we are assuming a particular narrative. In Samantha Bee's case and the Washington Post's case, they're assuming one particular narrative. In our case, we're assuming a very jocular and probably quite pointed narrative that the person complaining is probably an asshole herself.
Well, I'm not assuming that.
No, I know we're not. I was getting to that. I was getting to that. We are presenting that as an alternative. I'm not actually assuming anything. I don't think Teal Deer and Karen are assuming anything either. We're presenting it as an alternative. But
I would say a more likely alternative, to be honest.
Okay. Teal Deer says it's a more likely alternative.
Just given everything else about this, they sound like a bunch. Okay, here's a bunch of female park rangers hanging around in skirts instead of practical wear who don't bring their own food with them.
Yeah,
I have an opinion on these people already.
Yeah, maybe they stand a parade pretty too. You know, it's like they are
So
presenting.
when the tents were put up, how much do you think they did?
Yeah, there are aspects of this story that aren't being said. Yeah, why are you wearing a dress in the wilderness? Like how are you going to be fully at top operational capacity in a dress? Why do you not have your own food on you? And also placed ammunition cans. The other thing is this a situation where she is the fucking new guy, and she's the one who's expected to schlep the shit down the mountain? because she's the fucking new guy. And
Yeah.
that's what new guys are expected to do. Is that a situation? And she's sort of gussied it up with this sexual abuse allegation. Oh no, he said, when I didn't want to put up my tent, and he said, go fuck yourself. That was actually a sexual come on. And then when I refused him, he didn't give me food, and he gave me piles of shit to take down the mountainside. Well, there are other potential explanations for these events.
No, well, I mean, it could well be that she wanted him to give her food, and she wanted him to put up her tent or whatever, right? And all of that. And he said, "Yeah, only if you suck my dick. Like, if you suck my dick, we can talk. I'll do your work for you, right? But you know, if like, why would I do it? Just because, you know, like, it's your fucking job. Why would I do your job for you if you're not sucking my dick?"
Yeah,
Right?
and you know why we're conjecturizing these other alternative points of view? Because guess what isn't in this story? The other side of it.
Yeah, no, and also what isn't in this story is the fact that I've actually seen interactions like this in my workplace where women have attempted to get men to do their work for them, and those men have said, "You're not my wife and you're not my daughter, so why would I do that?" Right? And that's a much nicer way to put it than, "If you're not sucking my dick, why would I do that?" But it essentially means the same thing. Who the fuck are you to want me to do your job for you? Right? I got my own fucking job to do. So, and I've seen that happen. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Banana.
Full of poop. Cruise ships. Wow.
Wait. Something just happened here and I didn't understand it.
Cruise ships.
What? Okay, wait, I gotta go back a little bit.
Maybe the gift of my poop will charm her out of her cargo shorts. And speaking of big metal cans full of poop, cruise ships.
What?
Yeah, no, they are big metal cans full of poop because they don't just excrete their waste into the sea. They store it up, and that's why they have outbreaks of all kinds of, like, Norwalk virus and fucking all kinds of things on cruise ships, and it leads to, like, horrific thousands of people stuck on a cruise ship puking and shitting their guts out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow, what a fun place to work, unless you need birth control. Oh, go Jezebel. Now, according to the MaxiPad of record, Norwegian Cruise Lines has told employees.
The MaxiPad of record? Jezebel?
Uh,
That's rather a pointed appraisal of Jezebel.
Yeah, no, whatever. But they have the Norwegian Cruise Line quietly removes employee access to emergency contraceptives. So I'm assuming that they previously carried emergency contraceptives in their on-ship pharmacy, which they would have. They would have a ship's doctor and some standard medications on.
Okay. Can I just interject here? You know what emergency contraceptive is, right?
That's like Plan B or the morning after pill.
Yeah, but do you know what it actually is comprised of?
Well, it's like
comprised of like 4 times the dose of a birth control pill. So you just get your birth control pills, you take 4 of them all at once, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Or take fucking 10 of them. Fuck. I mean,
Okay, fair enough. So unless they had been raped or sexually assaulted, oh, fantastic. You know what? This actually, I would disagree with this. This Norwegian Cruise Line's policy of getting rid of emergency contraceptive, because
we don't actually know if that's what they did because of how feminists tend to spin things. I don't know if that's what they did. It might just be that they no longer provide this for employees for free.
Oh no, they say for free or purchase. But here's the thing. This is why I think this is a really bad idea. Unless they had been raped or sexually assaulted, guess who's going to bear the brunt of this particular decision by this Norwegian cruise line. It's going to be the male partners of perfectly consensual sex. Because the female partner
No,
wants
it
to
actually says, I've just looked it up because I can. Employees of Norwegian cruise lines were recently notified without warning or explanation that they would no longer have access to emergency contraceptives for free or for purchase unless they had been raped or sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
So they do still have it. It's like, no, if you're raped and sexually assaulted, you can do it. So basically it's like, yeah, you can't work here and fuck people while you're working and then demand contraceptives from us.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
That seems completely reasonable to me.
I
From the
think
standpoint of an employer, I'm not paying you to be here to get laid.
yeah.
You're in the wrong business for that.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm just thinking that there's going to be a lot more charges of rape and sexual assault.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate for the consensual partners of these women. Anyway, let's banana this fucker.
That they'll no longer have access to emergency contraceptives unless they've been raped.
Oh, cue the excessive amount of false rape allegations.
If this sounds familiar, it's because it was a plot line on the non-consensual Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
No, I just love this. This guy will never. Are some of the accusations actually going to trial?
There are some that are going to trial.
Okay, well at least he'll have his day in court.
Yeah.
But of course he's of course guilty forever.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
But let's back up to the part where people are getting raped on ships. Is that...
Because 40 years ago, a black man could totally get away with rape.
Oh yeah, totally. People are getting raped on ships. I would assume that people can get raped anywhere, Samantha.
Yeah, including by you, Samantha.
Yeah, and including on a ship, Samantha. On a ship, raping people. Yeah.
In a tin can full of shit. Or
Not outside the realm of possibility, Samantha.
yeah, it's Samantha and her scat rape. You're pretty dark. You're a pretty dark god. Fuck. My God, Samantha, you rape people and you shit on their face.
Oh my God, Alison.
Disturbing fucking shit that you do, Samantha.
Why are you...
Why am I saying this? Because a friend of a cousin of mine told me that Samantha B raped her.
And then shit on her face.
Yeah, and listen and believe, Karen. Listen and believe.
Oh God.
I wonder if she has actually any sort of criminal statistics regarding rates of rape on cruise liners.
She might be bringing them up. I don't know.
I'm just going to assume that she's not going to.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there because I'd love to get a little citation needed in there. I love how this has just gone. Did you notice this? It just went from staff do not have access. Staff will not be provided access by their employer to contraceptives unless they are the victim of rape and sexual assault. It's not saying you can't bring your own. It's not saying it's contraband and you're not allowed to have it. It's just we will not pay for you to have it. And she has gone from I will not pay my employees to have contraception to women are getting raped on cruise ships.
Well, she might be alluding to the idea that that perhaps the cruise ships are saying that there's a high rate of rape or something. Let's just, because we sort of cut in the middle there for me to make my probably pretty obviously false accusation against Samantha B. Except that there are no false accusations, of course. They're all real. But let's maybe we can get the full story.
People are getting raped on ships? Is that normal? We talked to some actual former cruise line employees who asked that we disguise their voice and appearance, something they probably wish they could have disguised on board the ship.
It's the most sexual harassment I've ever seen in any workplace.
Okay.
This did they disguise her voice to make her vocal fry even more apparent? It's the most sexual
I'm sorry.
I've probably experienced in any workplace. I'm sorry, I like to make fun, but it just it is so you can just tell underneath her freaking Jedi hood there, she's got purple hair and problem glasses.
And she probably, her previous experience of the worst sexual assault was in an elevator when she was asked for coffee.
I don't know. Maybe she was harassed. Maybe she was assaulted. I don't know.
I mean,
But
it's possible. I mean, like that stuff happens. Again, I'd like to point to statistics that find a very high rate of sexual harassment, assault, and rape being perpetrated by women on men. So most likely there are several guys who could be in this position wearing this Jedi hood describing exactly what she's describing, but where are they? Not convenient to the narrative. So
Whenever we did report sexual harassment to our superiors, they would either laugh at us, ignore us, or say, well, what do you expect? You're on a cruise ship. This is what happens.
I'm assuming that must be the horny old guys who are on this cruise ship. Probably. You don't think that the male staff also has to deal with that? Like, it's a cruise ship.
no, guys don't ever have to deal with horny old ladies.
Of course not. And no guy is ever uncomfortable when, Aunt Betty shoves her fist up their ass. I'm exaggerating. Just fingers, maybe. Because those ridiculous outfits that they wear on cruise ships, they're pretty revealing.
Well, it's essentially like, okay, it's Meredith Vieira and the porter, or the bosun, and it's all good when it's that way. When it's the other way and it's like Regis Philbin and some young woman, then it's like an egregious, horrible crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
And again, we can point out Teal Deer statistics. 50% of sexual assault is unfounded. If you went
harassment,
to the
sexual harassment, Alison.
Sexual harassment, probably. Okay, sorry, I apologize. Sexual harassment is found to be unfounded. If you went to the captain and said that, the bosun ate a shrimp very suggestively at you, he probably would laugh. Or somebody in the chat said that there were a couple guys in the army who were, I guess, dishonorably discharged because a female in the army said that they tied their shoes very suggestively. I mean, if you presented that to the captain, he might laugh or she might laugh.
Yeah.
So the fact that people are laughing at you, I mean, in a normal world, people would remain skeptical. Like, you're alleging something, and you're alleging some more things, and we're just supposed to accept it because it's part of the, it's consistent with the narrative.
Never felt safe in crew areas. Never.
I never felt safe in what?
Never felt safe in crew areas.
Never. Areas. I never felt safe in crew areas.
One night, a crew member grabbed...
Oh my god, she even has the problem glasses, Karen. Oh. Am I being an asshole? Is that why nobody's talking to me anymore?
No, I'm seeing the problem glasses. I'm just agreeing.
Me and would not let me go until I made out with him, and his superior told me, oh, don't worry, his wife knows he cheats on her, as though that were the problem. Cruise ships are like, oh, I'm going to get paid and go see the world, this is great. And then inside it's like...
Okay, I just have to banana this because, the DM... I got fucked over with the BuzzFeed because they're really, really aggressive. But I don't know how aggressive whatever this is. Samantha B's channel, which either she's hiding her subscribers or she has none. I doubt that she has none, though, right? That's not possible. Karen, answer me. Silence.
What? Sorry, I'm taking pills because I think I have a kidney infection still.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just getting you to answer me because I need two voices whenever I stop, otherwise...
Okay, well, rely on Teal Deer because I'm just like...
All right. Teal Deer, I'm going to need you to banana as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm listening to all of this, and out of all of this, the last one with the weird problem glasses, that one, if that actually did happen, that's like the most detailed one that sounds like it could have actually been like sort of a legitimate thing that might have happened. Like,
yeah.
And is the sort of one that if that did happen, you would take seriously. But the rest of them are just like, oh yeah, there's just loads of sexual harassment. Nah.
Okay, and yeah, okay, but again, this is just people talking.
But
And we
there's
don't.
only one here that has provided enough sort of detail to something that I might take it seriously as like a single thing that actually happened to someone. The rest of them are just sort of like, oh, I was scared in crew areas. Well, that
Okay.
means nothing. You feeling something proves nothing.
Yeah, that is the case. So, but still, this is all just allegations. This is not the result of any investigation. They haven't reported on the result of any investigation. These are all just allegations and feels at this point.
John, you were saying.
Yeah.
It's like they always say, if this ship's a rockin', it's probably due to the sexual assault that's occurring on board.
Oh yes, because we've totally proven that's the case.
Yeah.
With this
and
series of anecdotes
I just
that somebody's afraid.
I just also want to say that, like, if she's trying to get laughs, then she's not really doing it. I mean, the Grand Canyon,
That was funny.
chasm comment, that was funny, but this is not that funny.
No, you're not that funny.
Okay, you know what? This is going great. How about a...
What the yes, bad things can happen in your workplace. That's a thing. How does this...
job in the city? Oh, hey, comedy!
Oh, a city. Like most cities where men actually earn less than women?
She just said, "Oh hey, comedy," and look at all those funny guys, and look at her bombing right now.
I know, and you know why you're bombing, Samantha? Because you're playing the martyr, and martyrs aren't funny.
Yeah, no, you're acting resentful and envious and jelly.
Yeah, and that's not funny. Well, it is funny, but it's more funny laughing at you than with you.
That's nice of
This has to be a laugh
you. Oh,
track.
gosh. You know how people are always like, I wonder why there aren't more female comedians.
No, I don't actually wonder that.
Funny, because all you want to talk about is how hard done by you are.
That's not funny. It's pathetic.
You don't even make it funny. You're not even like fucking Bill Burr, who often talks about how his wife or his girlfriend has hit him or doesn't treat him right or whatever, right? He makes it funny, right? You just sound like you're complaining.
Yeah, you can't be a martyr and a comedian at the same time. It's just obnoxious. But let's continue. Like, the reason why these guys are funnier than you, they don't get the opportunity to be a martyr. You know, and if they're not funny, they don't get an excuse that the patriarchy is holding them down. If they're not funny, they have to go back and figure out what they did wrong, because nobody's gonna tell them, no, the real problem is everyone around you. No, they're gonna say, it's you. Samantha Bee, you're not funny. It's you. It's your problem. And I don't have internalized misogyny, and that's why I'm not laughing at you. It's because you're not funny.
Maybe it's because every time a woman opens her mouth to tell a joke, someone tries to put their dick in it.
I'm laughing. I'm not laughing.
Are you literally insinuating that all of these men that you're showing here have tried to put their dick in your mouth?
Wow. I think you need to keep your fan fiction to yourself, Samantha.
Yeah, just
Your
like
self-insert Sue fan fiction, not very flattering. Not the time and place to bring it out. Jesus Christ! Because every time a woman opens her mouth, somebody is trying to insert their dick into it. That's not been my experience at all.
Yeah, no, I mean you're not a comedian.
A lot of guys.
I'm not a comedian, although I dare say that I'm probably funnier than Samantha.
Yeah.
I would say you are as well, Karen.
Yeah, well, I don't try.
No, I don't try either. That's probably the other thing.
It just happens.
Just happens, just like a dick in your mouth.
That often happens to me too, but I don't really have a whole lot of objection to it. So.
Generally, I don't when it happens. And I've never really had a situation where it just sort of randomly happened every time I opened my mouth. I guess it's comedic hyperbole.
I'm guessing that it's comedic hyperbole, but
But it's not funny because it's interfering or it's creating some sort of not contrast. Maybe interference is the right word with martyrdom hyperbole.
mhm.
Like it doesn't like I mean if she was going for I had to wade through 3 feet of snow to get to school, 5 miles uphill both ways. That's funny. Why
Way
isn't this
back
funny?
in 19 Dickety. Yeah.
Yeah, why isn't this funny? Why isn't every time I open my mouth there's a deck in it? Why isn't that funny? Why isn't that martyrdom hyperbole not funny?
I think it's just because she's doing it wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Well, she's taking herself too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was more like, I think she just needs to have a better punchline to it. So it's more like, if you try the joke like, did you hear the one about the deer that tried to cross the road?
No.
Well, God fucking damn it, every time. Every time.
That's cute, yeah. Of course, you probably
Try
also...
something like that. Maybe it'll be funny.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a really realistic deep throat.
Oh God, Karen!
I'm just gonna step away for 5 minutes, you guys.
Karen has to write herself some fanfic.
I
might be featuring Teal Deer.
If
you
I
might be featuring.
I'll be writing it with one hand.
You might be featuring, and it's judging from what she said, so might other people as well. Okay, all right, let's banana this thing.
Guys, hashtag not all men, hashtag please don't leave me mean messages. It's just a few guys getting away with harassment and assault.
Yes, it is just a few guys getting away with it. And guess what? It's even more women getting away with it, Samantha Bee. Way more women. I mean, you wanna trot out the conviction statistics for men who rape women or allegedly rape women? Oh my! Let's trot out the conviction statistics for women who rape men. Let's do some comparisons here. If you are a female rapist, it is practically a fucking buffet. All you can eat buffet in our society. Even if you rape boys, just get yourself a job in a juvenile detention facility. People will cover up the fact that you are raping boys, and nobody really cares anyway. So you can have as many as you want. It's just like what is it? Those lays, you just can't have. You just can't stop with one. It's like those female prison guards in those juvenile detention facilities. They just can't stop with one. They got to sample them all.
Yeah, no, and when you look at like female teachers taking advantage of their like 13 and 14-year-old male students, right? You know, and they might have an ongoing thing with multiple students, you know, over the course of a year or so, including group sex and all kinds of fucked up shit like that. And oh my goodness, what do you know? They got a suspended sentence. Isn't that great?
And then you know what prominent feminists have to say with that kind of shit, those kind of shenanigans. I like underage boys because guess what? Sperm flows like hot and cold running water.
Yeah, or they say the sex between female staff and male juvenile inmates in juvenile detention facilities. That's just a reflection of the fact that most people are heterosexual and they like sex. It's not.
And gifts make it all okay.
Yeah. So.
Holy shit! You don't want to go here, my friend, my feminist friend. You don't want to stride into this particular garden because you will fail at finding the victimhood high ground here when it comes to convicting or men getting away with sexual assault and harassment. Women get away with it so much more. And I can show you statistics if you want.
Yes, I think, but we need to banana. I'm actually kind of starting to be in some serious discomfort.
What's because of your
I don't know what it is. It's my whole left side's fucked up. So,
okay.
Might be a letter attack. You never know.
Over and over again.
Okay, what the fuck did she say?
With harassment and assault over and over and over.
Wait.
Me messages. It's just a few guys getting away with harassment and assault over and over and over again.
Well, you know that a lot of those guys who engage in those behaviors were raped by women, like 60 to 80%. So, and
Yeah, it's
that's
like
not
she said something that's actually true there, but she's kind of omitted the half that she doesn't like. It's like, yes, a lot of the men who do this are repeat offenders, but where did the cycle of victimhood begin?
Yeah.
It was with the ever-growing number of single mothers that we have, and we know that women are statistically vastly more likely to abuse children in their care than men. You got one half right. Maybe address the other half now.
We don't know that women are statistically more likely to abuse children in their care than men. We know that biological mothers are more likely to abuse their children than biological fathers. Stepfathers are actually the mom's new boyfriend are actually some of the biggest risks for children as far as abuse goes. So it's essentially it's kind of biological fathers are the least likely to abuse their own children, is really what it is. And women have the highest rates of abuse because they're the most likely to have children within their care and custody. And stepfathers and the new boyfriend are also highly, highly likely to abuse because they have a higher rate than biological fathers do, a much higher rate, and they also tend to have more access to the children and spend more time with the children than the biological fathers do because the kids are all in the custody of the mother.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of abuse isn't really a situation where a timer goes off, and it's usually that whenever they have an opportunity. And so,
when you look at who has custody, who has access to the kids, essentially you look at biological fathers who are often they don't have any access to their kids.
But if you look at just single parents, biological fathers versus biological mothers, biological mother looking at single parenthood, there still is more abuse by single mothers, except for one category of abuse, and that is actually the category. Wait. There's more. Children are more likely to die with single mothers than with single fathers. And physical abuse is more likely with single fathers, but all of the other kinds of abuse are more likely with single mothers, I believe. But fatal child abuse or fatal death, I think is 4 times more likely with single mothers, but I don't know for sure. So
I would have to see the stats on single fathers. Single fathers who have custody of their kids tend to be the top notch, the upper tier, the best fathers. They had to be in order to get custody. There's just a higher percentage of very, 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 very good fathers in that cohort than there are of very, 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 very good mothers in the single mother category. Because to be a single father, to get custody of your kids over and in favor of you rather than your ex or whatever, you have to prove yourself above and beyond what she would ever have to do. So
there are relevant stats.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen, you gotta mute because echo, and I'm gonna banana.
Women that I know that will go into an improv scene as a scientist, and then a guy will grab their boobs for no reason whatsoever.
What?
Where? When?
Okay.
They're talking improv comedy, so she's going into an improv scene, right? A scene that's improv. Okay, and the guy will grab her. Maybe he's playing the evil, harassing man, and she's supposed to play along as the martyr that Samantha Bee is playing. Maybe maybe this narrative that you've got and that you're pushing, Samantha Bee, is informing some of these improv scenes. because all you ladies do is harp about how women in science, women on cruise ships, women in the park service, women in the military, women in college, women in academia, women in STEM, women in fucking every workplace everywhere are being like groped by men, okay? And then you set up an improv scene. Oh, you're a woman scientist working in a science lab, and go, right? And the dude is like, mwahaha, and grabs her boob. Well, he's just playing to your fucking narrative, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe it's deliberate. Like, I mean, maybe a little too deliberate. Well, although I'm
So,
like,
in the
this
real
is something really happen? Like, it just seems so far-fetched.
world, you wouldn't meet a scientist and then honk her boobs.
Oh, that's funny though.
Oh, really? Because I've heard that women in science face daily harassment, sexual harassment from their male colleagues. It's like it's rampant. It's everywhere, right? That's
Oh my God.
Feminists, right? Is that a woman in science, in the real world, is going to walk into a fucking lab and face a gauntlet of gropings. In fact, it's going to be like being initiated into the Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes Special Female Edition.
Honk, honk.
Paddled on the bottom. They're going to have their boobs groped.
Honk, honk. Actually, that is sort of funny. Honk.
Yeah, well.
Look at the face. Look at the I am so concerned face.
Yeah, I know.
That's not a funny face. But, well, actually, it is a funny face because I'm sort of like laughing at you, but I'm not laughing with you.
It's a moralistic face.
Oh my God! And moralizers are never funny because they take themselves too seriously. So you're saying that this woman walked in with a science outfit and some guy honked her boobs, like literally squeezed them and said honk honk or some shit? That's.
It's not rape if you shout for science first.
Yes. That is a good one. Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
I am surprised.
That's another reason Marie Curie should have worn a lead apron.
No, see? In the real world, it doesn't happen like that, and Samantha's saying, oh, but it does, which makes the improv apt.
Or maybe it doesn't. Like, this is the other thing that I have a problem with the feminist narrative. It just sort of breaks down at this point. Because feminism would say, yeah, female scientists experience tons and tons of sexual harassment. So this improv is just improving what is the guy might have been hearing from feminists. Or he just wants to honk her boobs because it's hilarious.
No, but he's taking their narrative and running with it. That's what he's doing. He's acting out what they tell him happens daily to fucking women scientists.
So which is it, Samantha? Is it that it doesn't happen, therefore he shouldn't improv it in his improv cast? Or that it does happen, therefore it's perfectly valid to do in an improv? Like, where, how, when, what? Like, how? Is this even real?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
A moment here. Just because I want to overthink this because it's hilarious. She just made a joke about Marie Curie saying, oh, there was a reason that she should have had a lead vest. And obviously that's to stop all of the groping and raping that she was going to experience. And obviously this is because she died of radiation poisoning, and lead is, of course, a fairly good radiation shield. It's like, hang on. Did you just mock the accomplishments of a woman in science saying that she was too stupid to not use lead protectory gear?
No, I think she was just making a cancer/rape.
Yeah, I know that she's making a cancer, but that's entirely my point. It's like, hang on, haven't you just kind of made a joke about a woman who was kind of important in science?
Yeah, she did.
Isn't that a little bit of a faux pas for feminists? Because, you're basically just mocking a woman who did something kind of important.
Let's just honk Marie Curie's breasts. Honk,
yeah,
honk,
but
honk.
it's just bizarre. It's like, why wouldn't women want to go into science? Because you're going to mock them for being too stupid for not wearing protective gear by making a cancer joke about them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samantha. You're the reason women aren't going into STEM.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be mocked for their mistakes. Actually, that's pretty good. Mock somebody for their mistakes. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's
But,
completely fine, but it just seems kind of weird that that's where she's going with it when she's trying to be all like, oh no, we need to treat women with the kid gloves and never give them any shit when they fuck up or anything like that. It just... I've put my feminist lens on.
Well, yeah.
It's like, you can't do this thing over here and then that thing over here. It's just, these two things that you've done are not compatible.
She's been dead for long enough that it's okay to mock her.
Well, probably she's just a man, really. I mean, she's got the internalized Saganese.
She's been dead long enough you can't honk her boobs anymore.
Yeah. Honk.
Although I wonder if the radiation made them big enough that they've lasted this long.
Oh my god, yeah.
Science! Get me a shovel!
Maybe Mary Curie's mutant nuclear radioactive boobs will make, like they can come back from the grave. We'll have to fight them.
It'll be like William Shatner's hair on that episode of Robot Chicken.
Would they ever do that, though? I don't think Robot Chicken would ever have the balls to do Mary Curie's
irradiated zombie boobs.
Yeah. We have to fight against them, or they'll take over the earth. Actually, they probably would do a better job than the feminists, so have at.
Yeah.
Banana.
The problem is so persistent. Female comedians in Chicago, New York, and LA have set up secret online groups to share their stories and warn each other which serial predators to stay away from. Hooray! Sisters are doing...
Seriously.
Sisters are doing it for themselves, yeah. Okay. So we essentially have a comedy version of Hollaback.
Oh, listen to this one. My teacher invited me multiple times throughout the night to a party. When he declined, he asked if I was sure, as there would be higher-ups at the major comedy institution that he really thinks I should meet. Seriously?
Social networking is sexual harassment.
Yeah.
I was hosting a show in my home club, and the headliner, before I brought him up, got real close to me and said, "I bet you give really good head."
Would you reply, "Yes, I do, but my breath only smells like one dick, thanks."
Or...
Do you remember, like, the last time I was on here and I pointed out why female comedians aren't funny because so much of it is about my ex-boyfriend and my vagina? And I'm just reading there, it's like, in my set I had jokes about how hard it was for me at a date due. Unless I've misread that. Is that a pregnancy joke or a period joke, unless I'm misreading that? I might be misreading it because it's covered by something else.
Which one was it?
It's one of the ones sort of in the middle. She had jokes about a due date or a date due. I'm not entirely sure about the context because half of the fucking sentence is cut off by another card.
In my set I had jokes about how it was hard for me to date due to the fact that I was awkward.
Yeah.
Okay, all of this shit that I'm reading, and I've read a few of them now, this stuff is really, like, this is scraping the bottom of the barrel of trying to find offense. Like, this one, I did a 5-minute set that included a bit about having my IUD inserted. I mentioned something about the gyno saying, blah, 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 tight, and needing to use blah, blah, blah. Why the fuck would you... Oh, my God. The IUD insertion is, like, the least funny thing I've... Oh.
No, I can see an instance where it would be funny. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, and it's not an IUD insertion, okay? It's when I was pregnant with my youngest, okay? And I went 28 days overdue. 27 days overdue, rather. And then we had to induce. But... during that 27 days, I had to go in for a daily non-stress test, which is when they hook you up to all the monitors and make sure the baby's doing okay. And then I had to, every second day, go in for a pelvic exam at my local clinic, right? And, of course, given the fact that I was, like, massively, massively overdue with a gigantic child, he was, like, over 11 pounds when he was born, I could not see or reach my feet, okay? And it was high summer, and I was living in, it was really hot out, and I was living in these little canvas flats, Little canvas flat shoes. Anytime I had to leave the house, I could just slip them on, no problem, right? But pregnancy changes the acidity of your skin, and it changes the bacterial cultures that live on your skin. And so these shoes, they just fucking reeked. They absolutely, like, they like, just imagine the worst fucking set of hockey gear, okay? The worst, most stank set of hockey gear. And even though I would sit on the edge of the bathtub and I would wash my feet before I would go for these feet in the stirrups, internal exams, right? The moment I put these fucking shoes on, right, my feet would recolonize and they would get this, like, massively atrocious smell again, right? So there I am in this tiny little room, right? And I'm on my back, feet up in the stirrups, and the doctor would come in, and I would just be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. I am so, because the entire room was just rank with it. It was just like, all you could smell was my fucking feet. Okay? And he'd be like, it's okay. No, it's okay. Right? Like, there are some things about our human bodies, our processes, the awkwardness of certain situations, right? That can be amusing. They can be funny if you can look at them that way. It could be funny if she delivered it. If she delivered the lines properly, could be funny, right? But not if she's got the chip on her shoulder about it.
Okay. Mute. All right. Well, here's one of them. I'm offering you the part, but I understand if you can't do it because of your obligations as a mom. This individual says, I wouldn't have auditioned if I couldn't do it. I'm always on time. I always pay coaching fees and cover yours. I reserve blah, blah, blah. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, that someone was polite to you.
Yeah, he gave you a fucking job.
You're being a fucking dick about it. I told the host of the mic that he was too drunk to be there at the beginning of the show, and they said he's always like that. Later I told them he's bothering me, and they said he's just drunk. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna play in a nightclub. You're gonna have to deal with drunk people. Don't do that if you don't want to. Anyway, it's like, this stuff is just such trivial bullshit. Do women actually, does an average woman really have these stories and then they're like, oh my god, I'm so oppressed? Is this like a female thing that I just don't understand because, I don't know, I'm not female or some shit? Like, is this something that, is this a thing?
Well, I mean, you've got 300 genders to choose from, so if you don't feel like you're female enough, just make something.
No, I feel like I identify as a female. I just don't understand this thing that is being presented as female. This, like, sitting in a group and talking about how your teacher invited you to network and that's so horrible. What? Seriously? And then saying that there's drunk people at your club, and then saying that somebody said, I bet you give really good head. Who the fuck gives a shit? Like, he's obviously talking shit with you because he's in a comedy club. Get over it. Like, that's what happens in comedy clubs. You're pushing boundaries. What is this is a thing that happens. Like, women get together in enclaves and bitch about nothing.
Yeah.
I often thought the sign of a good comedian was one who could handle heckling, and some of this just actually sounds like a bit of heckling.
Yeah, it's heckling. But
like, it's something that happens sometimes.
All right.
For themselves, and by it, I mean law enforcement.
One woman, Erica, it took her years to say something about her alleged rape, and she posted in the group just saying the guy's name, and 5 women wrote to her telling her that.
I think that we might be going over the time, but I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna Teal Deer, can you get in here with a banana?
I can get in here.
Bananas everywhere.
Just get into this rape story with a banana, stray banana. Just insert it in. Honk.
They had similar experiences.
Hey.
With this one guy. How is that even statistically possible? Like, is he, like, raping
Well, no, that is statistically possible. If there's a guy who's operating within a certain community and he is a serial or recidivist rapist, right? Serial predator. It's entirely possible that there would be multiple women within that particular community where he operates.
Yeah, but in an improv class?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
all right.
okay, Hugo Schweitzer, how many of his female students did he fuck?
Yeah, but this is an improv class in a city. Like, one would presume that they're pulling from people not all from the same fucking, like, social circle, that there would be multiple people from different social circles.
Yeah, no, the comedy community is actually quite tight. And so, yeah, no, I could see something like that. I could see a guy having, multiple notches on his rapey belt and, and having multiple women in that group saying, yeah, no, I went through the same thing. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility. It's not statistically improbable. Comedy is it's not like you're just on LinkedIn as an engineer or something, right? No, it's a small community. It's very sort of incestuous and
And it's like, but it's like let's compare it to like the men's rights community, also a small community. You never have heard of a story like this coming out of it.
No, we have.
Really?
Yeah.
Of a bunch of women in the men's rights communities being raped?
Not a bunch of women in the men's rights community regarding rape, but we have had stories in the men's rights community of a bunch of people pointing to certain individuals and saying that, yeah, I had a bad experience with that individual. I think you can remember a couple of instances of that. So, yeah.
I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, because I don't know if that would be an example that's consistent with someone actually having done something. Oh, wait, do you mean like the first ICMI?
No, what I mean is essentially certain people can be toxic, not necessarily in ways that are sexual, right? But they can be toxic in certain ways, and everybody in the community who has interacted with them will be like, oh yeah, no, they did that. Oh yeah, no, they did that with me too.
Oh,
right?
okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my point is that, for a bunch of misogynist shitlords, I mean, aside from the people who are that you're talking about, or allegedly, we don't really have kind of stories like this.
No, we don't have stories of sexual abuse or sexual harassment.
Well, I think there was that one of men, like the sexual abuse of men at the ICMI.
Yeah, but the person involved in that, the person who was alleged to have done that, was not a member of the community. He was just at the event.
Yeah, and that's the International Conference for Men's Issues in Detroit. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he wasn't even a member of our community. If it was somebody like Paul Elam, or somebody like Sage, or somebody like, like anybody who was actually like, seriously active within the men's rights community, behaving in that way, then like there would have been evidence that he was behaving that way long before the ICMI.
Yeah. Anyway, let's banana this sucker, because I just find it. My point was this: it's interesting how our tight-knit community manages to avoid this shit, and yet the comedy community doesn't. Interesting.
Yeah.
If you don't
like them comparing notes, you shouldn't have taught them yes and. I'm sorry.
What? I don't get that reference.
Just ignore it.
Okay. Teal dear, you've been quiet. Do you want to? I don't know if the subject matter that we've gone over really lends for your input, but
Not really. I mean, it's the men's rights community. I don't have a whole lot going on with that, and I don't know shit about the comedy community either. So
yeah, this is just like yeah.
Remind me again, what is the point of encouraging little girls to dream big if any career puts them in the path of boob hunkers?
Seriously.
Any path in your life puts you in the possible path of pretty much anything.
So you're just basically teaching girls learned helplessness with this shit, Samantha B.
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell them that men have to face sexual assault and abuse too, and they manage to move on from it?
Why don't you just tell these girls that no matter what they decide, no matter what they choose to do, some things are going to be difficult, and so they should just, dust themselves off and stick their determination, just keep soldiering on, despite the naysayers and the vagaries of the universe, and the people who stand in their way, the obstacles, the adversity. All of, you just encourage them to do it. Don't say, well, why would I encourage you to dream big when any dream you pursue is going to put you in the path of some kind of something difficult? What the fuck is that?
Right. Okay, I'm going to go somewhere a little bit different with this, because I can. We've got this woman here saying to girls, don't try and do this thing because some of you might be the victim of sexual harassment or sexual assault or rape or anything like that. We know from Bureau of Justice statistics and whatnot that the number of women who experience those things are anywhere between about 1 and 5%, depending on which particular study you rely on that's actually credible and not self-reported garbage. And they are using those sorts of numbers. I mean, well, they're obviously not. They're probably using some feminist trash numbers which places it at 1 in 4 or some such nonsense. But going by actual crime statistics, they're basically using 1 to 5% to say you shouldn't do anything or try anything ever because of that 1 to 5% chance that something might happen to you that you could possibly prevent in certain circumstances, but we're not allowed to talk about that because victim blaming. And I have to wonder, what would this woman's opinion be then towards a group like MGTOW, when a group of men who eschew the concept of marriage, when 50 to 75% of them, depending on where you go, end in divorce, and about 60 to 70% of those are initiated by women. I can't help but think that this is the kind of person who would say that those men are crazy, or insane, or bitter, or mentally unstable, or something. And yet the numbers that they're using are far more just better and more objectively provable and actually in their favor than the sort of shit that she'll be relying on.
Well, yeah, and she'll look at their attempts to sort of avert disaster, avert catastrophe through their own decisions and their own agency, as just being really, really misogynistic and awful, and oh, I can't believe you would blah blah blah, and yeah, no, and yet her with this whole thing, fucking. Yeah, if a girl is ever gonna stumble across some difficulty, then it's best just to not encourage her at all to pursue anything, because there's no part of life where you're guaranteed the way through. So we should probably just put girls in little boxes and just leave them there. We'll take them out and dust them once in a while and then put them back.
Okay, let's keep moving on. Wait, I got the wrong one. Just a sec. I get the right one. Is this? No, this is not the right one. This is. Sorry, guys. I'm fucking up. Cause where? Oh, here it is. There we go. Let's finish this off.
There's not a workplace on land or sea or even at the bottom of a big deep hole in the ground where we're actually keeping women safe.
You're statistically the safest group in pretty much everything.
Yeah,
you are
nobody has the right
statistically
to be
least likely to be the victim of everything.
Yeah, No, like, okay, and once we've made women perfectly safe from men, from any sort of victimization by other humans, once we've turned them into this sort of elite, pedestalized class of people who are untouchable by human hands, and any affront to them shall be punished severely and with prejudice. Okay. Once we've done that, then okay, now we've got lightning strikes and we've got like the stomach flu, and we've got I don't know, stubbed toes. Like where does it have to end, Samantha B? Where are you going to? When are you going to stop taking the safest demographic in society, safest from everything, safest from disease, safest from premature death, safest from accidents on the job, safest from dying in freaking of 14 out of the 15 leading causes of death, safest from freaking assault, safest from any kind
Also,
of victim.
possibly safest from rape too.
Yes, absolutely. Safest from any possible victimization you can think of. When are you going to stop and think, this demographic, right? That woman on the fucking screen right there wagging her fucking finger, and this woman here with that pained look on her face like she's fucking constipated, right? Okay? They're safer than the little girls that they interviewed at the start of the video. They are safer from harm than those little girls.
But you can't be safe and funny.
Well, you can't be safe enough if you're a woman, I guess.
All right. Banana.
Did you see how cute those kids were? Wouldn't it be so nice if they could go to work without carrying bear spray?
You mean like if they were a park ranger? Like Karen.
They're more fucking likely at that age to be attacked by a wild animal than you are. Thank you very much, Samantha. They are the ones who, when they go out hiking in the woods, should be carrying bear spray, not you.
Okay, she doesn't want them carrying. Well, if you're a park ranger, wouldn't a can of bear spray be appropriate?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Going back full circle.
Read the label first and don't spray it on your tent and your canoe and your cooler, right? Thinking it's bear repellent because, it's actually just cayenne pepper and the bears smell it and it actually smells tasty to them.
All right.
Yeah.
For the park ranger, she definitely needs the bear spray.
Oh, at least she
right
went.
now I'm actually picturing some guy saying, ugh, what am I supposed to do? Stop asking women out at work because it makes them uncomfortable? Yes. You are.
And you can
So
do the
we're
same.
not allowed to ask permission yet.
I met my husband at work. My ex, I met him at work.
Okay. What?
I would not have been married for 15 years. I would not have had my 3 children. I would not have fallen in love with him. I would not have done any of those things if he had been prohibited from asking me out at work.
Or at work.
Oh, look at the pompous. You know why you're not funny? Because pompous people are laughed at, not with. You pompous. And you know what? You're just as likely to have committed sexual assault or rape than a man. So what gives you the right to be so fucking pompous about it?
The people in the audience cheering are women. You can hear it, right? It's all women going, woo! Yeah, no,
It's like they scored a fucking touchdown in the game of Fields.
I don't know. I don't know how many nurses have gotten married to doctors that they met at work, right? In fact, up until recently, up until online dating, the #1 place where spouses, married couples, met each other was at work.
All right, let's finish this off.
But listen, If you must ask a colleague out, at least learn to take no for an answer without leaving a can of poop outside her tent.
Like this happened once, you dumbass.
We don't even know if the guy who asked her out was the one who left the poop outside her tent.
Next time on Lean In Job Fair, it's also cool to be a pop star.
What the fuck happened to Keisha?
Oh, okay. She
God.
accused her of raping her and sexually abusing her over the course of years because Sony wouldn't let her out of her contract. I'm guessing because she signed on for 8 albums and she's produced 2, I believe, right? So she has 6 more albums to produce for Sony. And she wants out of the contract, I'm assuming, because somebody's offered her a better deal now that she's a big star, right? Sony is like, no, that's not going to fly. We were the ones who invested in you. We invested in all of this shit for you to make you who you are. You're going to live out, you're going to fulfill your end of the contract. And then she came out and accused this guy who she'd previously in under oath sworn depositions said had never, ever, ever sexually harassed or assaulted her or anything ever, right? She'd testified previously that he'd never done anything wrong. Her mother had testified, I heard some rumors. Kesha testified, no, none of that's true, right? So you essentially have her on the record saying, no, none of this ever happened. Now she's coming out and saying, oh yeah, no, he totally has been like sexually abusing me for years, my producer, right? So then Sony said, okay, well, if you have a problem with this producer and that's why you want to leave your contract, here, we can fix it. We'll fix it by giving you a new producer. You don't have to deal with this guy anymore, right? You have a brand new producer, right? Should make it, yeah, no. She's suing them to get out of her contract. So it's not about not wanting to work with this one guy. It's about wanting to go to greener pastures, abandon the label that invested in her and move on to greener pastures now that she's got a big name. So.
All right, let's shall we just?
Are you telling me that a woman is accusing a man of doing something untowards at her so that she can avoid her own responsibility?
I can't even imagine a situation in which a woman would do that. How dare you suggest that, Teal dear?
That just sounded like how that story was going. I mean, it's
no,
madness.
I believe Kesha. Hashtag I believe Kesha. Yeah, no, I don't. She seems like she just really wants to leave the contract and is willing to say whatever it takes to leave the contract. So, yeah.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
I think this is over.
Yeah, it looks like it. I assume the rest is credits. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, let's just.
Boys will be boys, let them have their fun.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, rapists will be rapists. That includes women. That includes Samantha B., who raped and shit on the face of my friend, my second cousin's friend. And you gotta listen and believe.
Yeah, no, you do.
Traumatized for Life. Traumatized for Life by Samantha B. Oh, fuck it. It's done.
Okay, I don't know what's more painful, like my left side and back right now, or what we just watched and picked apart. Because
I don't know either.
Yeah, I just really don't.
Or the stream just totally fucking failing on us. Well, that wasn't that painful, but that actually had nothing to do with us. Apparently it was Google. Apparently it got Joe Rogan too. So there you go.
That was just going by what someone said in the chat. So I don't know whether that's actually accurate or what, but somebody mentioned in the chat that, yeah. So.
All right. Well, Okay, let's do the thing. Let's do the shilling and then fuck off.
Okay, shilling.
Yeah, okay, all right. So Karen is the speaker at the International Conference for Men's Issues in London.
July
The
8th to 10th or something
July
like that.
July 8th to 10th. Now, here's the thing. The men's rights movement isn't isn't in a position to pay Karen $20,000 for a speaking engagement. Isn't even in the position when a men's rights group puts on an event. It's not even in the position to actually be able to pay for the event. So what Karen is essentially doing is creating a fundraiser to pay for the costs of the Justice for Men and Boys who are putting on the event. And
Yeah.
some of those costs are speakers, is essentially to get the speakers to the event. So that's what this fundraiser is. It's basically the costs of putting on this event. And it's sort of critical that these kinds of events happen. They are the segue point between online advocacy and brick and mortar solutions. Is actually, the patron described it as the middle ground, where things are happening in the real world, but are events in the real world. So this is very important to do, is to have these events in the real world, to record them, and to get these speeches happening, to get Karen to London. If you are in the UK, you want a Karen there, don't you? I mean, the awesomeness of your island nation would go up 100%.
Well, it's not just me either. It's not just for me. It's for me and Sage Gerard, who's also a speaker, and Janet Bloomfield, Judgy Bitch, who is also a speaker, and Hannah Wallen, our fellow honey badger, who will be going and filming. Not filming the speeches, but filming, doing an Antonio, sort of doing a lot of filming of attendees and just trying to get something together to
Although
put together.
if we can get Antonio there, we could also get some more.
Yeah, we'd love to be able to get Antonio there too. Have 2 cameras on hand to do sort of the more personal, behind the scenes, interact with attendees, do all of that stuff. Put together a documentary that will hopefully be a good promotion for the next ICMI, because we want there to be more of these in the future. And so yeah, if you have a spare shekel that isn't going towards a venti latte, I would suggest you throw it in the hat. We do have, I think, 12 free tickets to the conference left, and those are going for a donation of $375, which is exactly the cost of a ticket. So we're not profiting from, or the conference isn't profiting from that, but this fundraiser would be, it would put us in the black, and Mike Buchanan, the organizer of the conference, has been very generous in giving us free tickets that we can give away as rewards to donors. So that is essentially my spiel. Get us there, because if you don't do it, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, give us your shekels.
All right. So the link is in the low bar if you're interested in helping Karen get to the UK, and I highly recommend it. If you're in the UK and you ever want to see Karen, this is the time to get her there. Now is the time. And the link is in the low bar. So, Teal'c, do you have any final words before I just usher this to the end of this thing?
Yeah, for a show called Full Frontal, this was surprisingly difficult to masturbate to.
I was actually wondering when she was going to take off all her clothes. So.
Well, I think you made it, for at least for Karen's sake, you made it significantly easier to masturbate when you did that sound that Karen says sounded like you're deep throating something.
It was very realistic, Teal dear. Very realistic.
Well, you know what they say about deer.
Yeah, no, they're deers.
They're deers.
But never darlings.
Okay.